Hello again. This is Karen Lusk. I work for Alabama Council on Human Relations with Head Start and Early Head Start. I'm back again to read you another story. Today, the story I've chosen is called How Rocket Learned to Read by Tad Hills. If you look at the cover of the story, we could think about what might happen in this book. I see a dog sitting here, and I see some books. What do you see on the dog's nose? I see a little yellow bird reading a book. I wonder if that has something to do with what's going to happen in this story. Let's look and see by reading it together. Here's the title page, which is sort of funny illustration there because he's holding a copy of the book. But on the title page it says again, How Rocket Learned to Read. Rocket loved to play. He loved to chase leaves and chew sticks. He loved to listen to birds sing. He looks like a happy little dog. Every fall morning, after chasing leaves, Rocket would lie down in his favorite spot under his favorite tree. There he would sniff the neighborhood smells and settle in for a good nap. Shh. Shh. But one day, a little yellow bird startled Rocket. Do you see the little yellow bird? There it is. Aha! My first student! Wonderful, the little bird sang. Rocket was confused. Excuse me. Student? I'm not a student. But if I am your teacher, the bird interrupted, then you must be my student. Rocket found it hard to argue with this bird. I am so glad that you saw my sign, the bird chirped. Oh yes, I can see it, Rocket said, but I don't know how to read. Can't read? Fantastic, she waved a wing. Welcome to my classroom. But I just came here to nap, Rocket said. No, there'll be no napping in class, declared the bird, except for, of course, during nap time. Well then, I could just take a nap over here, said Rocket. I've had a very busy morning. Not to worry, I'll be around every day, chirped the bird, until the weather turns. So Rocket's moved away, and look, he's going to take his nap now behind the bush. But did anybody see what her sign said that she hung home up in the tree? Class starts today. As Rocket breathed in the crisp air, look, I don't know if you can tell, but if I bring it close, you see part of Rocket behind that bush? Just his tail, taking his nap over there. As Rocket breathed in the crisp air, the little yellow bird hung up her banner. Her banner is a sign, a long, long sign. Ah, the wondrous, mighty, gorgeous alphabet, she marveled. That's where it all begins. Look at her banner and see if you recognize some letters on there. I see the whole alphabet, starting with A over here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and goes all the way over to Z. Opening up a book, the bird began to read. She sang out the story of an unlucky dog named Buster who had lost his favorite bone. A cool breeze carried her lively voice across the yard. At first, Rocket was disturbed. He just wanted to take a nap, if you'll remember. But he can't help but overhear her story. Before long, he found himself captivated. Captivated means he's just very interested. He can't wait to hear what's going to happen in her story. To Rocket, the story was as delicious as the earthy smells of fall and as exciting as chasing leaves. He closed his eyes and he listened to every word. As Buster dug and dug under the lilac bush, the bird read, he felt something familiar. Rocket waited. Was it the bone, he wondered? Silence. Was it the bone? He called out to the bird. More silence. Hey, was it the bone? Rocket hollered. Suddenly he found himself rushing to the tree. Well, was it? But the little yellow bird was gone. The next morning, Rocket arrived early. He's still wondering. You see, there's the book that she was reading. It's waiting in the tree there. At last, the little yellow bird appeared. Hello, how wonderful to see you in class, she chirped. I can tell by your waggy tail that you are well rested. I'd like to hear the end of the story, please, said Rocket. Oh, she put up a new sign. Let's look at it. Word of the day, D-O-G, dog. Well, it seems like a fine way to start the day, chirped the bird. She gave Rocket a name tag. A name tag with his name on it. It says Rocket. Do you remember when you first came to school and you had a name tag with your special name on it? Then she began to read the story he'd been waiting for. Every day, Rocket returned to the little yellow bird's classroom and he learned about new letters. Look, there's a capital B and a lowercase b, b, b. In the morning, the bird would teach him a new letter every day until he had learned all of the wondrous, mighty, gorgeous alphabet. Together they sang out the sounds that each letter makes and spelled the sounds they heard around them. With a G and many R's, they spelled Mr. Barker's growl. Grrr. They spelled the sound of the wind, which was growing colder by the day. Whoosh. Can you make the sound of the wind? Whoosh. Soon they were spelling words like F-A-L-L, fall, for the gusty time of year, and R-E-D, red, for the color of the leaves. And each afternoon the bird read a story. She read stories about dogs and birds. She read about leaves changing colors and about birds flying south for the cold winter. Then one day the weather turned. It was getting colder, and the letter banner disappeared. See you again in the glorious spring, the bird sang. And as she flew into the wintry sky, she called, Don't forget, words are built one letter at a time. The days grew shorter and the leaves fell from the trees. The grass became crunchy, and then soon Rocket's classroom disappeared under the white snow. But Rocket remembered the little yellow bird's alphabet and practiced his letters. Here's one. A, B, and then do you know this one? C. Look how he's making those letters by running through the snow. Have you ever been able to run through the snow? It doesn't snow here much in Alabama. Rocket thought about the sweet bird's chirp while he sounded out words like, look at him, he's down in there. All you can see is his tail. He's sounding out words like dig, D-I-G, dig, and other words like W-I-N-D, wind, and C-O-L-D, old, cold. He made some new friends, and he spelled their names. Hello, E-M-M-A, Emma. And hi there, F-R-E-D, Fred. He spelled everything. S-U-N, sun. M-E-L-T, melt. When Rocket spelled mud, M-U-D, he knew that spring, as it always does, had returned. The weather started changing. It rained a lot and it got muddy. Look at Rocket. He's got muddy paws, and he even made some mud fly up on his ears and his head and his nose. So then the breeze blew warmer, the grass grew greener, and a sign appeared. Whoa, does anybody know what that sign says? Class starts tomorrow. Class starts tomorrow. Early the next morning, Rocket rushed to his classroom. As he waited, he spelled W-A-G, wag, wag. His tail was wagging. W-A-G, wag. Soon the little yellow bird arrived. Ah, there she is. My favorite star student, she sang. How wonderful to see you. I can tell by your waggy tail that you are ready for class. Here they are together. Together they began to read. They read stories about birds flying north in the spring. They read about picnics in the warm sun. And they read about that dog Buster, the lucky dog who found his bone under the lilac bush. Doesn't that look like a nice, cozy place to lay down and read? It's beautiful. And when they were done, they read it again and again and A-G-A-I-N again. And that is a story about how Rocket learned to read. Do you ever have a story that you like it so much that you tell your mom and dad, let's read it again? Or you ask your teacher to read it again, please. That's how Rocket felt about stories. I think Rocket, I heard him coming around here earlier. Let me see. Here you are, Rocket. Come say hi. Hello. Oh, here's Rocket. Rocket who learned how to read in our story. Hi, Rocket. Do you enjoy learning how to read? Yes, I do. Well, when you were learning to read, didn't you have to learn all about the alphabet letters?
Yes, I did.
Lots of letters. Well, we learn about our letters too when we're at Head Start. And we do lots of things with letters so that we can learn how to read soon as well. Do you think it would be a good idea if we all learned how to read together? Yes, I do. Let's learn how to read together. See my name tag? Still wearing it. Rocket. Rocket says, "Run to read." Love you. Thanks, Rocket. Thanks for visiting with us. Goodbye. And that's the end of our story today about how Rocket learned how to read. I look forward to reading you another story soon. Until then, I wish you well. Bye.